You're going to need a metal rod, and this is about 6 inches, maybe 6-7 inches long, about a 1/2 inch in diameter, hammer, 1/8 inch drill, tack puller, you know, some kind of a block of metal to use as an anvil. You actually could use this, if you clamp it into your vise, you could use this as the anvil for all 4 rivets. Here is the driver's door pocket, and we've removed it by taking the screws out. There's a screw at the very back of the pocket back here. There's 3, 4 screws. And of course, what I'm going to do on this particular project is I'm going to carefully remove the staples that are holding the binding around this edge here and over here in the front part of the pocket. Carefully peel back the glued down material around the bracket here, and then also on the bottom down here we're going to carefully peel up the carpeting like this on the bottom, and what we're doing is we're going to expose the rivets that are riveting this bracket in place. So once we get this all peeled up, then I'll show you what it looks like underneath there. Now when you go to pull this, back off here a little bit, when you go to pull this out here, be careful in this area here where it's cut not to rip the bound edge, because what you want to do is basically peel this back here like this to expose these 3 rivets, and you can see them. There's 1, 2 down here, and then 3 over here. Then at the same time we peeled the carpeting, carefully peeled it back at the bottom here, right at the bottom of the bracket, and inside here there is a rivet down here. Okay, now that we have that, what we're going to do next is to make it easier to drill these out, because they're easier to drill out from the back here. What I do is I end up cutting this right here with a tool. You can either use a pair of aviation snips, a pair of tin snips, and just kind of hack your way through here to kind of remove this upper part. It's no good anyway because it's got a big break right there. Sometimes you can just push it and just snap the thing off out of your way so that you can get your drill down in here and drill this hole. Let me go get the drill, I'll show you what I mean. And I've got a 1/8 inch drill bit chucked up into it, and you can see that it reaches this rivet up here easily, but down here the plastic is getting in the way of the chuck, and then you can't even see it, but up inside this corner up in here is another rivet way up inside there. And you just I've got a little cutoff tool like this with a cutting blade on it for cutting metal, but it burns through this plastic pretty easily, so I'm going to do that real quick and then show you what I mean. Now you can see that I've removed all the upper half, and basically the reason for that is so it just makes it easier to take your drill and be able to drill that hole out. And you want to drill it out, you know, straight, so that you don't make a big hole through the cardboard panel on the other side, because we're going to re-rivet the new bracket right in place in the same place. So let me drill it off, and I'll show you how easy it comes off. Now with a little luck, we've drilled the heads off of these rivets, and what you can do is just get in here and gently pop the bracket right off of there, just like that. Okay, comes right off of there just like that. So this can be thrown away. Now the leftover rivet is still inside the holes, and usually you can just gently push them through to the other side just by mashing on them a little bit, and then or tapping on them with a little hammer, and then you can just reach through the other side and pull them off, and basically there it is. Here's the new bracket that we have to replace the old broken one, and they come with in the kit they come with these little hammer rivets, which are two parts. One's a pin, and the other half is a cap right there. The very first thing you want to do is line it up here where the old bracket came off. So usually you can put it right in place, bring it up to the top edge of the bracket isn't sitting too far forward like that. Make sure that it's back, and those two, the door pocket and the flat surface of this new bracket are even. So push it back as far as you can so that they're even. Get it in position, raise it up so that it's even at the very top of the door pocket, and then hold it there while you drill that hole. You drill a hole straight through there with that same 1/8" drill bit. So let me do that. I've picked up a pin, which is the pin part of the new these through the back side here. I line it right up here with the door pocket thing here, push it right through there like that, and then sliding the cap on top of the pin. Okay, so that's what I just did. You slide it on there, and it actually pushes and snaps onto that pin, so it sort of gets kind of insecure. So on the back side you've got a very similar looking rivet where it had a hole in it that you drilled out earlier, and a cap on the front side here. These are a little bit larger than the originals, so if you drill the hole through the door pocket panel and it gets a little bit big or washed out, these rivets will accommodate that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hammer these together. A block of steel. I don't even remember where this came from, but it's probably about 3 or 4 inches long and 1 inch or so wide, and it's a pretty heavy piece of metal. And I like to use this because it's just about the right shape. But you can use a dolly, like a metal body shop dolly, or the vise that you have on the bench. You can use a vise or whatever. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the door pocket here, and this is the rivet we're going to hammer, and I'm going to set the inside part of the rivet on top of this block of metal like this, okay? And then I'm going to carefully hold it in place here so that the rivet is on top of the anvil, the metal block down there, and then I'm going to hammer that with my hammer. I'll see if I can do that and get a picture of it at the same time, which might be pretty hard to do. But basically, make sure you keep the anvil underneath there. Tap it down like that, and then make sure that it gets flattened out pretty good. It's a little hard to do it while you're holding the camera. I'd advise you to put your camera down while you're doing this. It keeps you from hitting your fingers and thumbs. But anyway, basically that's about it. And then all you do is go down. So I like to put the top one in up here first because you need that lined up to the very top. And then go down to the bottom, and inside here you can see the hole, and you can kind of get a general idea of how close that hole is to the plastic. This thing you can kind of move this back and forth a little bit like this, a little bit. So you try to get it in position into a good part of the plastic so that the rivet's going to hold with no problem. And that would be your next step, is to do this bottom one. I'll do that right now. The bottom one drilled and the rivet is pushed in there. I'm getting ready to hammer it. So I wanted to show you a little trick. You can't really get inside there with your hammer to beat on this thing. So what I've got is like a piece of, I think this is like 1/2-inch rod. It's just a piece of steel rod that you actually can slip it through this hole here, hold it on the rivet like that in a vise, you know, or something, so that it actually becomes the anvil that you use, just like this piece over here that we used earlier. So you put this metal rod through here, or some kind of round thing that you can use as an anvil, turn it up so you can get to the bottom side, and you just basically hammer the rivet together just like you did at the top. After you do that, then you can just do your last 2 rivets, which are inside here. You know, inside here, this front corner one, and this and the rear corner one back here, and then you're done. And you probably will have to use this this type of an operation here again to do these 2, because you just can't get it in there into this corner one with this piece here. But you should be able to use a block of steel. At least this one here is a nice size that I can get to the other rivet that will go back at the back corner. Once you get that done, basically you just carefully put a little glue back on here, wrap all the material, the carpeting down at the bottom, wrap it back around, glue it nicely down, wrap your material right back around here like it came off, put a little glue on it, maybe put a couple of staples inside there and everything. And then we don't pre-drill this hole here at the back of the bracket. If you look very carefully, you'll see an impression where the hole was, but I usually let people put it on the car and try to figure out where the original hole is, or the original hole may be wore out in your armrest that it screws into. So a lot of times, the reason I don't like putting it there is because you might want to move it. You might want to move it down a little bit, get into some fresh metal that's going to be, you know, over on this side of the new bracket. That's the only reason we don't put that hole there. Thank you very much.